He doesn't give a shit.
But I'm Jared Leto.
Yeah, I'm not stopping.
And I'm going to be that when I go to bed, and I'm going to be Jared Leto when I wake up in the morning.
Which is weird. Yesterday, I woke up as Jared Leto.
That is weird.
Which, yeah,
that is
I know.
the weirdest thing I've heard today.
And my first thought was, I really need a kombucha.
Biscuit.
Yeah, that is such a classic. Do you remember when we listened to that in the car together?
Yeah, it was one of those things where we both discovered that we liked that song. And I had never met anyone else who had known the song.
You know what's crazy? I think we were already decently like good buds before that drive.
We were on our way to San Diego to do comedy, I believe.
And we stopped when we got down there, we had lunch in PB.
Oh.
And then it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we did that stuff. Then I don't remember what show. You did a show. I think I did.
I think we did 2 trips down there, and I'm conflating both because one of them was on a Friday because I remember that because we were at Winston's.
Yes, it was,
and that was always Friday.
Yeah.
But I do remember going down there on a week, like on Tuesday.
We did that on a Tuesday. I remember that.
Because we did Lestat's.
And yes, we did, and that's how I met Callens outside of Lestat's.
Oh.
Well, you say R.I.P. Did you? I don't know if you heard this.
I did not.
So Twigs shut down. Okay.
I just talked to somebody who did that like a month ago.
They just shut down because but Comedy Heights announced they found a new location, which is Lestat's.
Oh, well, that's handy how that works out then.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's good because that Lestat's show had been going for 20 some years.
Dusty's show.
Was it Dusty then? Oh,
Dusty.
That asshole. Yeah, Dusty.
Well, speaking of that piece of shit, no, I do want to talk about the tea that we're drinking today.
Okay. Are we going? Is this officially
It is what you want it
underway?
to be.
Don't say that.
Listen, I will tell you that if we keep any of what we've recorded so far, I think all the listeners will be severely underwhelmed. I think that is.
Well, then, yeah, we're right in my mark then.
Yeah, there you go. The tea that we're drinking today is a postcard tea. It's Rui Lin Shu's. It's Rui Lin Shu tea. It's from Taiwan. I was going to say it's their Taiwan. It's Taiwanese tea. It is an oolong. So we steeped at. This one I did a little below boiling, steeped at about 200 and did it for a few minutes. Kind of the world's your oyster as far as this particular tea goes, but I would probably stick in that region. How does it taste? As someone who doesn't drink a lot of tea.
In this moment, I'm glad that it's caffeinated.
Yeah. You're putting me to bed. As someone who doesn't drink a lot of tea, how are you feeling?
It's not too shabby. The thing about it is, like, I only usually drink tea when I'm not feeling well. Mm-hmm. So when I drink, sometimes when you drink tea, same way with
you're like, now
juice.
I feel like I'm not well.
Yeah, now I feel like I should be in bed.
I feel like I'm sick.
But no, this is good.
Because you don't drink a lot of tea. You drink coffee, though, I imagine.
Yeah, but I'm down to, I get 1 cup in the morning, and then I can usually sneak another one in. Like I keep cold brew in my fridge.
Which is a whole other ballgame.
But then
crazy.
I put like a finger in some milk, and I drink it like that. Because otherwise, the caffeine ruins my stomach anymore. I used to drink coffee by the pot.
And you're just putting your fingers right in the milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. You drink coffee by the pot.
I wipe them off first.
No, and you don't have to. I think that if you ever released an album, a great name for it, as the way that I think about you, would be like coffee, cigarettes, and punk rock.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. But wouldn't that be that's a good title?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
Congrats,
okay.
Josh.
Yeah,
is that what you're?
Yeah.
You're like waiting for me to.
Do you think I do this for anything other than your validation? Why do you think I had you on?
Now you put it that way.
Yeah, I had you on for the validation. I do remember, like, on that drive down, you obviously, like, you had the cigarette scent, and when I was growing up,
cologne.
Yeah. Well, it's Marlboro for men, and when I was growing up, my dad smoked cigarettes, and I remember when we were driving, I was like, this feels kind of normal.
That's like when I didn't start smoking until I was 18, which is kind of old for, most people start like in junior high or high school.
I know, we all have regrets,
But yeah, he wasn't my grandfather, but he was my grandmother's second husband.
Sure.
Heavy smoker. And I loved the smell. He spoiled me and my sister rotten, so we were like, That's like a good association to have with it.
Yeah,
So
we get gifts when we smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never had a problem with the smell or anything like that. I still
Yeah.
don't, obviously. But
Well, obviously not. Did you, because you just had your second kid,
yeah.
you birthed him.
I did.
Yeah.
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 I think I'm down to my pre-birth weight.
I think you look great.
Oh, come on.
Everything
I was
considered.
fishing.
Yeah. I loved it. Did it have any impact on you when you're like, I'm having a second kid? Maybe I need to cut back
You know
on
what
the
the
smoking.
first thing I said to her when she said we were going to have this kid? I said, I'm not quitting cigarettes.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Because of being a real asshole about
No,
it.
I know. I didn't expect anything less from you. Yeah, because I was wondering that. Like, listen, we all have bad habits. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a cigarette smoker, but like,
then I also have cigarettes.
yeah, exactly. But like, I eat a lot of ice cream. I'm sitting on a constant basis. Like, we all have our things. You know what I mean? And I wonder if when I have a kid, I'm going to be like, oh, I got to fix this crap. Like, I got to be better. I want to quit these things. You didn't have any inclination to that.
I mean, did your parents?
Hell no. They smoked weed every day of my childhood.
So my dad put away a 6-pack every day. And frankly, I'm more fun to be around high than my dad is drunk.
I don't know about that. I really liked being around your father. When he gets mad, oh God, he's fun.
My parents did actually. I think my mom quit smoking cigarettes, and I think my dad held on to it. And then my sister came along. I think he might have quit. But no, I don't really ever have any kind of intent because I don't drink anymore. Like I already quit drinking, and that was like the worst one.
You're like, how much can I give up?
How much more? So no, I mean, I am trying. Sugar's another big vice of mine.
I think all of it. Yeah, all of us. Yeah.
I've scaled that back. I'm on a 1 serving sort of a diet on everything.
Yeah, me too. Definitely me.
I mean, sometimes I think I had 2 yesterday, but some days I don't have any. If I don't keep it in the house, that's honestly.
I had a slice of pie yesterday at 2 p.m. Why? Because I just wanted it.
See, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm only trying to cut back on the sugar because I'm sick of looking at my belly.
I've done something really interesting, which is if you can learn very easily how to shower and brush your teeth with the lights off, you don't experience that ever. Like, it's not an issue for me.
Well, it's not. So it's not like I'm not using my dick much these days. But when I look down, I want to be able to see it.
Oh,
I want to know that it's there.
Oh, I sometimes check in. I usually like. I ask Jess. I'm like, if you could just get a down angle, just tell me if it's still there or anything's happening.
But see, you have a partner in that. I don't really have that.
Yeah. You're just like I'm so free solo. No, that is so funny. I think. Listen, I think we could all cut down on the sugar. Obviously, I do think at a certain point, and I imagine you'll relate to this. It's like, okay, yeah, let me just cut every ounce of fun out of my life. And then I'll be healthy. And I'm like, cool, I'll be healthy and miserable. Right. What a treat.
Well, that's why I'm trying to. I've never been one for cold turkey. It's always weaning
warm
myself.
It up in the oven.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be a dad.
Sprinkle some sugar on it.
Yeah. Cold smoke the turkey.
So, like, I'm a big believer in. I still, ingest sugar and caffeine and everything.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just trying to dial it down because I felt like after quarantine I was in better shape because I was walking like every day.
Oh, I see.
And then just scarfing ice cream like it was nobody's business.
That was my quarantine.
But then it started hanging around and I couldn't get rid of it. So that was like, okay, well now I need to just because I was pint a day for a while there. Yeah.
This is a weird
Just
thing.
a couple ice cream boys.
Yeah, a couple boys eating their ice cream. I don't know if this applies to everybody. You might be like, yeah, that's universal. I don't know. Here's my thing. When I get in the habit of ice cream's an example. When I get in the habit of it, comedy even fits this. When I get in the habit of it, I'm like, oh, I need this.
Yeah.
I need it. But with ice cream, if I can put together 3-4 days in a row where I don't eat it, it becomes significantly easier for me to not go for it again. I'm just like, I'm good.
This is where I make my laziness work for me because if I don't keep it in the house, there's a Ralph's just down the street from me, but it's a slight uphill walk back.
I don't do that.
No. I will not go out
I
for
once
ice cream.
literally moved because I had gone down the hill and couldn't go back up. Started a new life.
Just had somebody box your stuff up and send it down the hill.
It's still there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just started a new life there. Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's a lot of people talk about like the temptation, the calls coming from within the house. From inside the house. I don't know. I said within. I
That was more metaphorical.
I poeticized.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the first movie is that came with the calls coming from inside the house.
Oh, that's that old urban legend.
Yes,
Yeah.
where it's like the babysitter.
Yeah.
I never saw the movie Urban Legends because I was too
It's
scared.
one of my. I was just talking about that yesterday. That second wave of like slasher movies that started with Scream.
Yes. Well, I love Scream.
Yeah, I do too. But Urban Legend was my favorite out of all those.
Really?
Tara Reid, who I always love because she's in The Big Lebowski, and who else is in that? The Noxzema girl. I like Joshua Jackson, dude. I think he's a good actor, and I just like the shtick of it was they had never done that before.
I love that the way you said I like Joshua Jackson implied that you and I had an off mic conversation where I said I didn't.
No, it was
you like
the
looked
one
at me and you're like,
having
I like Joshua Jackson.
You know who I was having that conversation with?
Who?
The younger punker me in my head who goes, "Fuck that Dawson's Creek asshole."
And you're like, I liked Pacey.
Oh, I like Joshua Jackson. I
Yeah,
didn't like Dawson's Creek, but I like Joshua Jackson.
You can just admit that his storyline with Joey meant something to you, and it's fine.
Oh boy. I don't even have that.
You don't even know what I'm referencing there.
No.
I actually didn't watch the show, but I understand the show. Here's what's crazy. It started to show up on TikTok for me. People are posting clips from Dawson's Creek. I'm like, what?
I believe it.
Yeah, they're just like, look at this old television my parents watched.
That's kind of honestly what I'm looking forward to as I careen towards middle age is watching people younger than me discover shit that I didn't even like when I was a kid. Like cassettes are having like a huge moment these days.
I did not know that.
It's ridiculous.
Uh-uh.
Because I was stuck with cassettes, and I hated them. But my parents felt I also bought vinyl, and my parents thought the exact why would you buy records when you have CDs?
Yeah, what's interesting is I don't know if CDs are ever going to make a resurgence.
I never would have thought cassettes would be back.
Yeah, what's funny? It's funny you said I was stuck with cassettes. The irony of that statement for me is that I had a cassette stuck in my car, and so I just listened to Steve Winwood every day.
Well, you got nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah. Well, listen, we bought the car, and that's what it had. And
you don't got to buy Steve Winwood's used cars anymore.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I said, the Steve Winwood tape is stuck in there, and someone just said roll with it, and that was the name of that album. So I did it.
Why do you hate us all?
I love Steve Winwood. That's really what it came down to. No, I think I haven't seen a boatload of things that are resurging from when I was growing up, but like some of the trends I see coming back are surprising to me. Like I heard, I have not seen, but I heard that like Jinko jeans are coming back, and I'm like, really? That is a bold choice.
I mean, they were barely in to begin with.
Yeah, I definitely didn't own 3 pairs. That's dumb. I didn't.
How old are you again, Josh? I always kind of forget.
37.
Ugh.
What the hell is that?
Because I always feel like you're closer to my age, but you're 9 years younger than me.
But in my opinion, as we get older, those 9 years don't really mean
No,
anything.
they don't. But it's like, because when were you not wearing 3 pairs of Janko jeans?
Well, let's be clear. I wasn't wearing all 3 of them at the same time.
I know. Man.
When was I not?
When did that?
When did I have that? Honestly, I don't remember. 13, 14.
So that means I was already.
You're in your 20s.
Yeah. So none of that. I had barely registered.
I did think it was weird that even at that age, you were inviting me and my friends over, and you're just like, yeah, we'll just hang out at my ranch. I don't know how you had a ranch.
I made some wise investments. I liked how you saw me see where you were going.
Yes, I did.
And you did anyway.
Well, you're just funny. I saw your eyes. I knew where your eyes went, and I immediately go, "Oh, let me dive in the pool. Let me jump in." No, I mean, a lot of those things, I think that the things you least expect are the things that come back. But
that's what I mean, is I'm looking forward to seeing what other stupid shit that I didn't like in the mid to late 90s is going to be the next big thing. Do you know what I mean?
The other interesting thing, I'll take 2 different topics on this because I think they both apply. Comedy is starting to do that now, where people are starting to, like, I heard someone the other day doing like I'm not exaggerating, 90s hacky, kind of racist, stuff, and this person goes, oh, I'm trying to get into the same thing. I'm like, what is happening?
That's not just to the 90s, though. That's
No, that goes much further back.
Yeah.
But like stuff like that. And then similarly, something that's come back a lot in a different way. And I know that you are kind of what would I say? A wise person in this arena is comic books have kind of like that resurgence popped in a huge way.
Has it?
You're talking,
Well,
like,
I know,
think
like,
about the superhero movies that came.
Superhero, but that's like it's the superhero. The MCU has become its own entity
True.
unto itself,
But
and now what happens in those movies affects what happens in the comics instead of the other way around. Because the movies are way more popular than the comic books.
I was going to say, but as a comic book fan, you must be annoyed seeing the movies start to influence the books.
Oh yeah, but I was annoyed with that immediately. But it was also something that I was just like, well, these movies are still enjoyable. This is when I still enjoyed them.
I didn't watch most of them.
Well, I'll tell you what, because right out of the gate, I stopped collecting comics for a few years, like in the late 90s. And then in the early 2000s, I was starting to get into them more, like buying them weekly.
Oh, okay.
And
do they come out that frequently?
Yeah.
You can buy weekly?
Yeah. I was a weekly. I only broke the weekly habit like this year.
Because when I think about a comic, like the amount of stuff involved in like you come up with a storyline, then you also have to come up with every panel. Like that's not an easy.
Well, it's all months in advance they do it.
But they do it enough so that they have a weekly output. I mean, that seems
yeah.
insane to me.
Well, your big Marvel and DC, they got the money to like crank out that kind of product. I mean, it's not all very good.
So that was my next question.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Especially now, like nowadays, I find the output to be very bad. In fact, I still read it, but I haven't been like excited about Marvel comics for like a year or two, probably. But see, I don't know if it's just because I've been overloading myself with them my whole life, and I'm just kind of gotten sick of it, or if they actually are worse. I think it might be both.
I was going to say little column A, little column B, maybe. Yeah. The other thing is I don't know how much latitude, and I don't know comics obviously very well. Like my gateway into enjoying superheroes in general were like the animated Spider-Man series.
Yeah, that's most people these days.
The animated Batman series.
And that's where, like, when you're talking about nostalgia and stuff, what is big in Marvel comics right now, for example, is stuff that was around when I was in high school. Because guys my age are still, like, the biggest audience.
Interesting. Okay.
So we're all in our 40s and want to feel like we're in high school again. So they're like, oh, we'll put out all these $20.99 books, and we'll put out, there's like they did a brute force. I know this is meaner than you, but like they do like these callbacks basically.
Interesting.
To like pretty obscure stuff from when I was a kid, but not obscure to me.
I wonder when I watch something like, and I didn't love this movie, but I'll use this as an example. The Dark Knight Rises. To me, it was...
That's the Joker one?
No, that was The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises was Bane.
Oh.
But when they did that one, I was like, interesting. This is their attempt to turn it on its head. Now Batman's old. Now Batman's back gets broken. Now Batman is fallible, and he's found his... Like, now we're trying to change it. I wonder, as far as how far comics have come, like how many ways can you be like, let's really turn this on its head? Maybe Spider-Man is now, a member of the KKK. I don't know what it is, but like something really like, you think Spider-Man? Here's a big surprise.
Well, they have a black Spider-Man, or he's
Miles Morales.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the sort of thing they're like.
Let's be really crazy. Let's change his race. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think that definitely some diversity was, called for.
No, it's necessary, but I'm just saying I think there are bigger changes. You could take bigger swings.
Yeah.
I
don't, well, see, that's the other thing is I don't know. The audience for superhero comics does not want things to change that much.
Got it. Okay.
Like, I'm kind of the outlier in that I'm like, no, I like this new stuff. For the most part, I do.
Yeah. You were like a big Howard the Duck guy. You're like,
huge.
Yeah.
Actually, that comic is super good. I thought the movie was brilliant, but I was 9 when it came out.
Sure.
So it's like they recently. So I don't remember when the Iron Fist TV show came out on Netflix. Is like 2017, I want to say.
Vaguely.
Few people remember it, but there was a big hullabaloo because he's playing this kung fu hero, but he's a white guy. The character Danny Rand is the Iron Fist. And people were making a real stink about the fact that it should be an Asian guy. And I don't disagree. I'm like, yeah, that would make more sense. And so they finally did change that in the comics to where there's a different guy who's Iron Fist. I can't remember his name now, but he used to be Swordmaster. And I was like, yeah, okay. Because you know what? In my head and my heart, Danny Rand is still the Iron Fist. Like, I don't need it to always be the same.
You're okay with
as
change.
when I was a kid. I'm fine with a change because it's not really changing. There's still all that old shit. That was what I could when I used to work in shops, and I worked with a lot of old farts who felt like very strongly about this sort of thing. And they go, "It's not the same anymore." And I go, "Yeah, obviously, dude." And also, there are thousands of comics that have already been published. You couldn't possibly have read them all. Like, there's still stuff out there that you can enjoy. You know?
But I feel like nothing. This is going to sound like I'm trying to sound smart, but like nothing is the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going back.
You don't sound smart. Don't worry.
No, I didn't think so. Coming back to like comedy for a second, right? I when I write a joke, with or craft one, I think to myself, I'm like, well, because I realize I never actually write down jokes, so it feels like kind of a mischaracterization.
Right. Well, it's just, guys, it's like you found a good way to make it sound more pretentious.
Yeah. Listen, when I generate a really powerful...
When I'm developing material.
Yeah, when I develop a social statement, and I write to theme only. No, but like anytime I come up with a joke, I'm like, oh, this is timeless. And then like a year later, I'm like, that was dog shit. What was I doing? Yeah, great joke, Josh. Like, I'm just like, I yell at myself.
Well,
I'm like, that's trash. But I think that's like everything.
Yeah.
Everything is always changing. So it's like, oh, I want to hold on to the comics of yore. I'm like, do you?
Well, I think there's also a thing, because I don't know if you'll agree with this, but whenever...
I don't.
Thank you. When you're writing, whatever you just wrote is always your favorite.
Yes.
You always think this is so good.
It's not what I just wrote. It's the thing that I've like finally figured out.
Right.
When I write a joke, I'm like, this is crap, until I see some people laugh and go, maybe it's not. That joke about lemurs is a winning joke.
You have a lemur joke?
No, you have a lemur joke.
I don't, but I should.
Wait a minute. Didn't you do a joke about lemurs committing suicide and they really
Lemmings.
don't? Lemmings. I'm mixing up lemmings and lemurs.
The
What an
ringtail
idiot
lemur.
I am. What's weird is we have a really strong zoologist component to our
Sure.
listener base, and
Sure.
they are furious right now.
Well, better you than me.
True.
I do not want to be on the receiving end of that.
No, it's weird. I don't want to call anyone out, but the Shed Aquarium has been really hurtful to us. They were like, how do you not know the difference
I think
between
it's brave of you to
a
call it
sea turtle and a river turtle?
that. Yeah, good.
Did I stick the landing on that?
I think tortoises are in the sea and turtles are in freshwater.
Sure.
I think that's how that works.
I learned in my later adulthood that there's a significant difference between alligators and crocodiles.
No.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
still not honestly
you
100%
said,
clear.
You said yeah, as if that was so.
No, I said yeah, there is a difference. I don't know what it is.
One of them is really dangerous. The other one, not as much.
Yeah, the other one you can just keep as a pet.
Yeah. Now the worst part, I don't know which is which. I'm gonna go ahead and
Better
say
just buy one of each.
I'm gonna say the crocodile is the dangerous one solely because he sings "Lyle Lyle Crocodile."
That's true.
Yeah. So
But
I'm
then
just
you
like,
got all those ones in Florida.
yeah, but here's
Those
the
are
way
gators,
I remember it.
if I'm not mistaken.
That's how I remember it. If you can say "see you later, alligator," if you can say goodbye, it's probably not that scary. I am literally making all this up, and in my head I go, "Man, I hope they teach it this way." If it's right.
It's probably not. So.
No, it's almost certainly not.
No.
Why did you want to write? Because the last time I saw you, there were boatloads of animal jokes. Is there something that attracted you to want to do animal material?
I mean, aside from the fact that it's just kind of something like I could do. I like the silliness, the innocuousness of animals doing people stuff. Which is what a lot of it ends up being, is animals doing people stuff or people doing animal stuff. That's always funny.
Yeah.
Me. And I also I was starting to go into a more like confessional, hey, let me tell you about my kids kind of
That
a
was
direction.
literally my next question.
And I was like, I don't like that guy at all. So I was trying to think of something else to do.
It's interesting because like I have trouble not writing about what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing that's on my brain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to talk about this.
You know what? So this is what I do for this. I go on very long walks.
Okay.
Once, twice a week.
Yeah.
And I think of all that stuff as I'm walking around and I listen to music and stuff. I think of all that stuff and then I kind of turn to myself and I go, you're not doing that on stage, you idiot.
Oh, okay. If you need that kind of voice, call me.
No, there are people lining up to call me names, but I have to be the one to get it kind of Because I'll walk, I could do something about this or that or the other, my personal life or something. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, but I think who gives a shit about anything I'm saying? I did, I was doing a joke. I think you were there when I started. It was one of the first times I did a joke about wearing short sleeve button down shirts, and I.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Very relatable.
But here's the thing: who cares about that? Who cares about that material? I don't think I ever write material where I go, man, I'm changing the world right now. Look at me.
I'm not talking about it. Like, I don't think that my observational comedy is going to change the world.
I think Werewife could.
But that's what I mean. That's
joke.
not observational at all.
No, of course not. I do wonder though, where it's like, I had this conversation with someone the other day where it's like everyone goes, make the art that you want to make, and then the audience will find you. And I'm
That's
like,
such
the audience
bullshit.
going to find the short sleeve button down joke? They're going to find that one.
I do like that joke.
I
though.
know, but I mean, but you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what the audience is trying to find and what they're not trying to find. And I think it's really naive to be like, you make the art you want. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Let me do that. Let me go make the art I want.
I mean, I've been doing it my whole life, and look where I'm not.
Look where I haven't achieved. My favorite thing ever is I was talking to someone who's not a comic, who's a friend of a friend. He goes, "Oh, you do comedy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh man, so you've made it?" And I was like, "Yeah,
It's so
I'm here
cute
talking
when
to
they
you."
think that. It's so adorable.
I was like, "You remember when you saw me host SNL?" He goes, "You hosted SNL?" I go, "No, I didn't."
That always helps put perspective on it, though.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Hey, you made it." I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, sure have.
I was like, "Yeah, tell everyone at my high school reunion," which I would not ever go to. But it's like I do think it's funny where I'm just like, on the one hand, I'm like, it doesn't matter what I say on stage. It's for my enjoyment only. And on the other hand, I'm just like, maybe I haven't made it because it's for my enjoyment only.
Yeah, but like I was saying, like I started kind of going in a different direction a little bit, and it seemed like it would be a more lucrative direction.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, because it's not fun because then it becomes a job.
Yeah, and I already have had a few of those. I don't need another
Just
one.
one, two.
Just
Yeah.
one or two.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I do think it's interesting because I do think that like having a baby is good for the bits, like
And I do have a couple bits about the kids because it's not like as much as I would rather do animal jokes, I find having a couple handshake jokes, I call them. Hey, I got a kid.
Oh, got it.
And then I can go into the silly stuff from there once I kind of establish that I'm just like you, which I'm not.
I always open with that. I'm like, I literally go, so I'm just like you. That's how I open.
Mm-hmm.
I go, hey, just in case anyone's wondering, we're the same.
That's why you did so well at the Apollo that time.
Yeah. Well, I remember I came out and literally I wasn't on stage yet. The hook was already coming out, and I thought that was weird. I was like, that's a very specific. Who has ever seen Showtime at the Apollo? Anyone who hasn't is like, what is this man saying?
Anyone who hasn't is not going to be listening.
No. Those people also haven't heard Rubber Biscuit. What's the point?
By the Chips, you should tell them.
Yes.
How did you discover that song?
I'm trying to remember, honestly.
Do you want to know where
Dying to.
The Blues Brothers.
Was it in that?
They did not in the movie. It's on their first album, which I believe was a live album. And Dan Aykroyd, Elwood, does the lead on that one. It's like one of the few that he did the lead on.
I genuinely don't remember the first place I heard it. But what I do a lot, I'm sure a lot of people do this. If I'm out and about and I just like hear something, I will if I can't, because Shazam and sound search, all that stuff didn't exist for a very long time. I would try and catch like 4 or 5 words and write them down.
Yeah.
And try and Google the words to find the song, and then I add that song to a playlist and I just listen to that.
I have a Google Doc that's called Songs to Look Up. And so anytime I hear a song in the wild, I usually, because I'll listen to, like I have a couple streaming services that I'll listen to like old dinosaur punk on and stuff.
Sorry, there's a genre called dinosaur punk?
Yeah, it's like it's punk rock, but it's from the 60s before they really called it that. But it has all the like
the Clash?
No, the Clash is from like the 70s. I mean, like there's a lot of bands. It's hard to explain. It's just basically like 60s garage rock.
Okay.
Obscure-ish.
Would I know any of
stuff.
these people?
You might, because a lot of these songs will pop up. Like in Superbad had a bunch of songs like that. Or did you see Baby Driver?
Loved Baby Driver. It's so sad that it is such a
Yeah.
hard movie to love now. It's like half the cast was just like,
Yeah.
how much trouble can we all get in?
But the soundtrack for that movie was right up my alley because
Oh,
it
yeah.
was all like songs that I knew.
I'm trying to remember the opening. The opening was John Spencer
Bell
Blues
Bottoms,
Explosion.
That's such a good song.
Yeah, but that opening was incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and now you're just like, okay, can we just like blur the faces of half of the stars of this film?
That was the last one before Spacey got
Was that the last
booted,
one?
I
Well,
think.
also the lead guy in that movie was also
Apparently he's a piece of shit too.
right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, it's hard.
But it's just, Jamie Foxx, I don't much care for him, but I do enjoy his work.
Okay.
And the John Hamm, nobody doesn't like John Hamm.
Yeah, no, I not that I know of. It's just tough. Like my favorite musician was Phil Spector, and my favorite actor was Charles Manson. I think it's tough
Yeah.
for me.
Well, I never cared for Phil Spector's work except for the wigs. He was a big wig hero of mine. Actually, I love Phil Spector's work. I'm a huge fan of him.
Now I can't
And
tell if we're in the bit anymore.
No, I'm serious, but I
Oh.
always refer to him as convicted murderer Phil Spector.
Oh, sure.
He's not record producer Phil Spector
Mm.
anymore.
Yeah, I always talk about a director I really like, Rapist Polanski. He
Wait, say that again?
Rapist Polanski.
I see what you did.
Yeah,
because his name also starts with an R.
Yeah, does it?
Oh, you didn't know?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Well, listen, I think this is as good a time as any to go to our first segment.
Oh, it is a segment. Okay.
Yeah. Are you ready for the Newly Friend game?
Yeah. Let's play a game.
It's like the Newlywed Game, but we're friends. The way this works is I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to write.
You're going to ask me a question about you?
No. I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to write down your answer. You're not going to say it out loud, and I'm going to try and write down what I think your answer is, and then we will flip our boards and see if we got it right, and we'll do then the same thing for me. So I could go like.
Do I have to come up with a question?
No.
Okay.
I will take care of all this for you. You're in my bosom. I'm taking care of you.
Well, now I have way more questions.
No. So let's start with that. What is my bosom? No. We could go a lot of different directions with you. But let's. I want to get a shot at getting it right. Okay, because I think if I say something like, "Who's your favorite punk band?" I'll get it wrong because you're going to say something I've never heard of. So let's do this one instead.
All right.
I'm not going to say your favorite of all time. I don't think that's fair. If I were to ask today, and don't say your answer, write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your favorite superhero today? Write it down.
Specifically, like not a villain that I idolize, but a superhero.
Of course, you idolize a villain. Do you want to change this up? Do you want to do who your favorite villain is? That could be fun.
I'm doing the superhero thing.
Well, for me, then we could do villain. No, I'm kidding.
I could do that.
You ready? Flip your board on 3. 1, 2, 3. Flip. Wolverine. Oh, yeah, that's an amazing
That's
answer.
evergreen. That's since I'm a little kid.
Okay, so Wolverine's amazing. I wrote down Superman.
I do like Superman.
I love Wolverine. How do you feel as someone who likes Wolverine about what they did with Logan?
I loved Logan.
I did too. But I just wonder, like, because they essentially said they took a character who was always able to regenerate, was always able to heal himself, and essentially said, we're going to change the lore a little bit. Maybe what if he can't?
Well, they had killed him off in the comics a couple years before that movie came out.
I didn't know that.
He died. They killed him in 2014. And then I think Logan was 2016 or 17.
What was the rationale? Because the rationale in Logan was just he's gotten older.
It's the thing they do in comics where when sales start to dip, kill a main character and watch people come running back to see what happens. It's an old trick going back to the Death of Superman was in the 90s. But even before that, like with Jean Grey in the 70s, she got killed and then was dead for a very long time.
I do think it's funny that they did the exact same Jean Grey storyline twice within 5 years in the movies.
They did the same thing in the comics. They killed her in like 78 or 9, I want to say, and brought her back like 10 years later. Killed her again 10 years after that, brought her back 10 years after that. So we're about due for her to get killed again.
Honestly, I've been wondering. I just feel like she's, she's had her stay, and it's time to woohoo.
Look, buddy, if you got something to say about Jean Grey, you can just about say it to me first.
Okay, I will. No, I love your choice of Wolverine. But again, what got me into X-Men was the X-Men animated series.
Yeah. Well, what got me into Wolverine and comics in general. What did my? Oh, here it is. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is. Can I tell you something? I'm not exaggerating. This came up on a podcast episode. I think like 4 or 5 episodes ago. I love Who Framed Roger.
It's one of the best movies ever made, and for my money.
I don't think they've ever tried to make a movie that is somewhat similar. And yes, they've done like live action animated hybrids.
Yeah.
But that was a darker take that I just don't think I've seen since.
The book is even darker than that. The book is more about comic strips, though. Like he's a comic strip character in the book. It has got very little to do with the movie.
Like a graphic novel, or it's a legit.
No, it was a novel. Gary K. Wolfe. And it's called Who Censored Roger Rabbit. And I don't even think the storyline about like him being framed for murder, I don't even remember if that's what it was. It's been a while. It's been like 10 years since I read it. But
interesting.
What got me, because I was 11 the summer that came out. It was the summer I turned 11. And so I was huge into that movie. And
it was incredible, yeah.
There used to be this magazine called Comics Scene. It was like a comic book fanzine.
Oh, it wasn't about like stand-up comics?
No, fortunately. But the cover story was Roger Rabbit for whatever reason. So I just begged my dad to buy it for me at the liquor store when he was getting his daily six-pack.
Sure.
And but then the Roger Rabbit article is what I read first. But then there was this huge article on Wolverine, and I was like, "Who is this?"
Yeah,
like, it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. This is 1988. It was like right when his solo series started. So that's what got me into collecting comics.
Interesting. Oh, I love that. Let's do the same question for me.
All right.
Who is my? Should we do villain or should we do?
Yeah, let's switch it up a little and do a villain.
Okay, flip your board on 3. 1, 2, 3. Flip. Magneto.
Oh, I would see that.
Oh, yeah, you said Magneto. I said Venom.
Yeah, I can see that now because you're younger.
But I loved it. Well, actually, I love Magneto. The problem with Magneto for me is that I don't necessarily think he's fully wrong. So it's tough for me.
He's one of my favorites for just that reason.
It's a little tough to watch that because I'm just like, I think a lot of people make it binary, and I'm like, it's not. You're wrong. I also wonder about sometimes, like, I'm sure everyone makes this comparison, but anytime I think about like Professor Xavier and Magneto, I think about MLK and Malcolm X.
Yeah, that's a very white comparison to make. Yeah,
hurtful. I'm the one who's bringing in multicultural into that conversation.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I think I'm
sorry that you want to sanitize your comics. It's weird.
Well, I gotta
every
keep
time,
them mint.
Yeah, every time we do shows together, you're always like, I want to make sure this audience is fully white, and I found that weird.
Well, I mean, is it?
Yes.
Have you not heard my material?
No, I've heard it. I'm shocked that you don't hand out Hungry Man dinners.
I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to only punish white people with my material.
Oh, got it.
I'm trying to spare other races. Having to sit through my bullshit.
Someone asked me, they're like, what's your target audience? And I was like, my target? People that like me. That's my target. People that laugh easy. That's what I want. Someone's like, well, who do you resonate with? I'm like, no one yet. One day.
Yeah, I mean, even though we've been doing it for a while, we're not like, you have to be a headliner to really have an audience.
I mean, you need to be like a real legend, like Matt Rife, to really know.
I only barely know who that is.
Listen, let me tell you something. I don't have any comment on him one way or the other. What I think is funny about that situation, though, he came into prominence, gains prominence, huge backlash now. I think that is as clear a sign as any to me that if I were ever to get success, I want it to be slow, methodical success.
Well, yeah.
Because I think when you blow up big, when someone's like, oh my God, do you guys hear about Jimmy Callaway? And boom, you're a hit. Immediately a group starts forming of, how do we take down this Callaway guy?
But that's the other thing too, is like, you've heard that old saw of, work your whole life to become an overnight success.
Yes.
That's very much a stand-up thing. I'm under the impression that Matt Rife did not even do that.
I do not have great insight into his background, but I know that...
Honestly, that's an untrustworthy name. Like, the first time I heard that name, I was like... Yeah,
it's rife with controversy.
Well, now I like it even less.
Yeah, no, I do too. But I do think that the other interesting thing that Jess and I have talked about before is that there's also a weird thing where, maybe it's not weird, where Hollywood and the entertainment industry will take someone and they'll be like, there's some juice here. And they will continue to squeeze it into your cup until you hate it.
Well, that's...
And then they go, oh, you're good. Like, think about like
going back to when a guy made shadow puppets on a cave wall. That's been true.
Sure, but I think it's interesting. It happens more to women, I think, than men.
Sure.
Where it's like Anne Hathaway, Jennifer Lawrence.
Whatever happened to the Anne Hathaway?
Well, that's the point. Is she got it, like the media was like, let's overexpose until people hate her, and now cool, we're done.
So what does she do now?
She's still an actress. She did a really great turn in a in a show called We Crashed.
What is that?
It was about WeWork.
The WeWork thing.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
Great show. Really tough to with Jared Leto's accent to really run with it. But
He's difficult.
he's
Sometimes.
a lot. He's a lot.
Not my favorite Joker, I will say.
But can I tell you something interesting about someone like that? He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like people are like, ugh, I've had.
You got to
it with
give
you.
him that.
Yeah, he's like, people are like, I've had enough, and he goes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
But I'm Jared Leto.
yeah, I'm not stopping.
And I'm gonna be that when I go to bed, and I'm gonna be Jared Leto when I wake up in the morning.
Which is weird. Yesterday, I woke up as Jared Leto.
That is weird.
Which yeah,
that
I
is
know.
the weirdest thing I've heard today.
And my first thought was, I really need a kombucha.
Which one of my assistants should I send?
Yeah. Well, I sent one of my assistants to wake up the other one, and when he said why, I said I just don't want to know that they're sleeping. Because that upsets me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, you're not paying them to sleep.
Oh, I don't pay them at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm Jared Leto.
I just watched Anne Hathaway's Saturday Night Lives from like a while back,
Oh, you're really catching up.
and I'm committed to watching every episode.
I have not missed an episode in probably at least a decade, but I haven't gone all the way back.
I have to take off a year or two here and there, but I'm back in it now since like 2021. I didn't want to watch it during quarantine because
I thought you were like the Domanian era. I didn't want to watch. You know.
No, I don't want to watch that. I'm saving those 5 years for last.
Okay.
80 to 85. And the thing about Peacock is that they cut a lot of stuff out.
Anything that uses
sucks.
a copywritten thing.
But see, there's a lot of stuff that still has copywritten. I don't know where the line is. And I think a lot of it might be, not all of it certainly, but a lot of it is like, maybe we should cut this out or before we might get in trouble for it or something like that.
Sure.
But then they will still have stuff that it's like, oh boy, you couldn't do that joke now.
Yeah,
You know what I
I mean, there was a series of sketches I loved in SNL called Song Memories, where they would take a song. So, like one example was like "Breakfast at Tiffany's," where during the verses they'd
That's a song?
yeah.
Okay.
I can't tell if you're making a joke.
No, I thought it was a movie or a book.
And I said, "What about Breakfast at Tiffany's?"
Is it a show tune?
Yep.
Well, then that's why I don't know.
No, it's not. It's a punk song.
Oh, okay.
They
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
breakfast.
Okay.
I love doing that to people
Yeah,
when I'm
that's
just like,
so
I haven't
good.
heard of that, and they're like, "Sir, you haven't heard of the Little Mermaid?" And I was like, "Oh, the
Let me
Little Mermaid."
Yeah, that's always a good one.
I thought you said the Whittle Mermaid. I thought there was just an old man whittling mermaids.
Right. Who cares about that?
Mer people.
Yeah.
But no, the person would like talk during the verse, tell an insane story, like a story that seems normal, and then would take a crazy turn. And he'd be like, "Yeah, I was having a tough day at work. My boss is like, I really think you need to leave." And I was like, I don't understand. And, he's like, this is a school. He's like, and you're not wearing clothes. And then like he would like end like that. And then they would go,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said, and then they would sing the chorus together.
That they did a sketch like that. That's like kind of one
It's a
they'll do
recurring.
every few years. Yeah.
But they cut most of them off of the Peacock
I saw
broadcasts.
one on Peacock not that long ago, and I can't remember now.
They put it on the cock?
It was they put it on the cock. It was a more recent one, but I can't remember the host or anything. But it was within the last 5 years, I want to say.
Was it me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was when you hosted, I think.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's weird. They keep calling. And
It was You Gotta Hide Your Love Away was the song.
Yep.
Do you remember this one?
I know they used it.
And Sudeikis was in it, so it was around that time.
He's one of the people who's in all the song memories.
Okay.
It was him, and I think Will Forte was in all of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keenan's and everything. The last
Keenan's
20
and everything
years.
ever.
20 years, that guy. Good for him.
I mean,
He's still great. I
one
love
more
him.
year, he'll be legal, which is crazy. His career will be able to drink.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. I think about the fact that if I hit that 20-year mark, I am retiring.
I mean, that's the cool thing I think about that guy is that he could probably retire a couple times.
Financially speaking?
Yeah, but he likes doing it, and I like him on the show.
I think he's great on the show.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting when I see someone who I think is very financially sound do something where I'm like, like, and I don't hold this against him. I haven't seen the show, but like I saw that David Spade was hosting a game show called Snake Oil, and I'm like, David,
He doesn't need to do
is your overhead too high? Oh, how many? Where is the hole that the money is going?
This is exactly why whenever I see Dan Castaneda in something,
He doesn't need to be in anything for the rest of his life.
and it's like, oh, he's on this because he's a fan. He likes Parks and Rec, so he's going to be a semi-recurring character.
Who was he on Parks and Rec?
He was the NPR host.
Oh, yes, he was. He does the weird jazz with something where they like play two songs at the same time.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And he was on, like, he popped up on an NYPD Blue once.
Well, who didn't want to do that?
I certainly would have loved to have done that.
Yeah.
And Azaria is the same way. Whenever I see Hank Azaria doing something, I'm like, that guy doesn't need to
Didn't
work.
you and I bond over both really liking Brockmire?
I haven't finished Brockmire, but I love Brockmire.
Don't watch the final season.
Okay. I don't think I even finished season 1.
Okay.
That's the other thing with my attention span is even if it's a show I really like, I'll peter out. I won't come back to it for a while.
I have said this on the podcast before, but it bears repeating. Brockmire's writing was just kind of writing that I just don't see a lot. There was a joke that made me laugh so hard that I think hopefully you'll understand as well, but I literally watched it with Jess and it went right over her head. He was like, there were 2 players on the baseball team that were in a fight. And he goes, well, I'm just trying to understand. Did he say that? Did he actually think that? He goes, I assume so. He goes, okay, so here's your problem right now. Knowledge and assumption is like Loggins and Messina. They both seem the same, but time proves that only one of them is useful. And I just was like, this may be one of the funniest jokes I've ever seen in a television show.
That thing about that show in particular is like that kind of a character, like that prickly asshole character, has been done a million gajillion times.
Yeah.
But doing it now is even more fraught with peril.
Sure.
Nails it.
Yeah, oh, he was great.
Nails it.
I loved
He's
Brockmire.
perfectly likably unlikable. In a way that I don't think anyone has done that well since fucking Archie Bunker, maybe.
Yeah, maybe or Ed O'Neill.
Yeah, I was just about to say Al Bundy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah.
And speaking of which, as long as we're on to sitcoms now,
we are.
How
you
can
go
you,
anywhere you want to go, Jimmy.
How great is it for Ed O'Neill? 2. Who gets 2 major hit sitcoms in their career?
Is there anyone else that did?
I'm hard pressed to think of anybody. Ed Asner's the only guy that comes close, but that was like a comedy and then like a drama.
Technically Kelsey Grammer, but one was a spin-off of the other.
But he wasn't the main character in both shows.
Correct. That's correct.
And Ed O'Neill was at least a main character in both those shows.
Yeah, I mean, Modern Family was very large,
very
cast.
Ensemble, but he was in every single episode.
Yeah, true.
And he
true.
was playing the same guy, basically.
Also true.
And perfectly. I love Ed O'Neill.
Well, I remember one episode, I heard him yell, Peggy, and I was like, what?
My favorite thing that he did not do a lot of Al Bundy stuff, but he would do when he would do his mean laugh. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Oh, villainy.
Yeah, I love when Ed O'Neill does that.
I want you to know we're going to take that little second, and that's the whole podcast.
Why did I do that?
We're cutting everything else out.
All right, fine.
Yeah, well, I just think it's important.
I think so.
Yeah. It was a good laugh.
Let me try to get it better, because I think I can do it better.
You're going to do a take 2?
I think I can do another take. I think I have another take.
I hope the audio peaks right now. Go ahead.
Don't
No,
look at me.
don't look at me. My God, this is like me in the bathroom to myself.
Because it's like when something shitty would happen to like Peg, or in this case, his other giant-breasted wife. What's her name?
Sofia Vergara.
But what was her character's name?
Gloria. Thank you. Elliot has it.
Thank you, Elliot. There, I like that.
That was better. That was better. I hope he peaked hard, Elliot. Did he peak? Yeah, that's my guy. You're peaking.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, well, no.
Okay.
Yeah, just like the audio and not your career. Yeah, I'm doing Don Rickles now.
Yeah, it's going well, Hockey Puck.
Yeah.
Oh, don't cry. It's going to be... He can dish it out, but he can't dish it out.
Are you ready to go to the final segment?
Sure. Are we done?
I thought you'd be thrilled.
I thought I would be too, but I've been having a delight.
I know. I like that you're now getting comfortable. You moved into the couch. You're like, let's get comfy for the lightning round.
Well, I'm almost done. So
now you can really let the guard down. The lightning round, it's 5 questions.
Right. I got that.
It doesn't have to be, it's 5 fast questions. It doesn't have to be fast answers. They're the same 5 questions we end every episode with. I put it on an index card because it makes me feel like a late night talk show host.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now, the first question, when you were 13, no, I'm just kidding. I remember this time that you killed a man.
You asked that to everybody?
Yeah, I remember that specifically. Jimmy Callaway. Oh, that's on the card. Jimmy Callaway. No. Question one: what is a favorite ritual of yours? So I like
I've got a
brewing
lot.
tea.
I split between laundry and grocery shopping.
Interesting.
I find both of those chores to be the kind of tedious that the rest of my mind can be free to
Okay.
do. Like when I go grocery shopping, it's something I have to do.
Yeah.
I have to feed myself. So it's like I don't have a problem making time for it. But then it's like I'm in the grocery store. I'm usually completely by myself, so I can just think about stuff while I'm there.
You're like, why is squash in season?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That I find that interesting. No one's ever given that answer.
No, that is the kind of thing you were talking about, right?
It's just a ritual that you really enjoy. I actually really enjoy doing laundry.
Yeah.
I am in a house where my fiance, for better or worse, we are on very different laundry schedules. So I used to do my laundry about once every week and a half. And I would identify what I would call the lowest laundry denominator, the LLD, or sorry, the lowest laundry factor, the LLF. That's what I used to call it. It's been a long time. But what it was, if I found something that was making me do laundry more frequently than I wanted to, I would just get more of it. So if I noticed I would run out of socks too fast, just bought a few more pairs of socks.
Yeah.
And so my limiting laundry factor, I would try and sort it out so I could hit the time. The time I liked was about every week and a half. This one likes to do laundry every 2 days. So by the time I go to do laundry, all the bins are empty, and I'm like, guess I'll just watch this stuff.
Do you guys have your own units?
Units? We don't have. What do you think? We each live in a different unit?
No, you have your own washer and dryer unit.
Washer and in-unit laundry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Do you not?
No, I do. It's just kind of shitty, and we have to share it with the whole building.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen. No one has. I saw a video the other day of this at-home dry cleaning closet where you can put clothes in and it just does it for you. I'm like, how does the other side live?
Boy, I'll say.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when I get one, you can watch me use it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was going to ask.
No, definitely. You can't use it. You can watch me use
I know that, Josh.
Okay, just checking. Question 2. What is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
Oh, okay. Well, I have to think because there's a ton of them. Okay, so my friend Jeffrey Berner is one of my best friends.
Yeah, he used to be a door guy, no?
Yes, he moved to Austin with the rest of the door guys.
Uh-huh.
So we have a ton of them. But my favorite one that I thought up is why I did. I would call him, and if I would call him and I would get his voicemail, I would leave a very long-winded voicemail.
You have to.
And it would always be about a crime that we had committed. And I'd be like, Jeffrey, do you remember that time we stole 40 tractors out of that warehouse? And I said, I forgot to say, don't tell anybody that we did that, first of all. And it would just be going on like that. That's fun.
That's a great joke.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do to you is
Jeffrey does the same thing.
If you call, I pick up and say it's you.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So you didn't seem phased at all when you called me.
No, I was right into it.
Yeah. Question 3. What is a very controversial opinion you have?
Oh man. Finally, my voice will be heard.
I know. You're like not enough straight white males.
I used about 10 years ago, I felt very strongly about this. And I'm a little less so. If your favorite band is the Beatles, then you need to listen to more bands.
Interesting.
I think that it's not that they're overrated, because as much as I want to say the Beatles are overrated, when I listen to them, I go, no, yeah, that's about right.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they've become such a lazy bookmark for people. Like, oh, the Beatles. Like, oh, yeah. Is chocolate your favorite ice cream too?
Ew.
There's so much more out there.
Yeah. Like, have you heard Chumbawamba?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you not heard the Captain and Tennille? Like, the list goes on and on.
Yeah. I mean, knock 3 times. That's where I'm at.
I don't know why Daryl Dragon leaped into my head at that point.
I want to know, why are we not all listening to Gary Glitter's Rock and Roll Part 2 more often?
Do you know, I agree. And I sincerely, when I walk around, so when I go on my little walks for 5-6 hours, I have my headphones and I have an MP3 player. It's got 2,000 songs on it. And highly selective. Like I'm very picky about what I listen to.
It's all former pedophiles,
Pretty
just like
much.
Gary Glitter.
Gary Glitter, yeah, you got your Gary Glitter, you got your who else? Josh, you know all these perverts,
All
right?
the pedophiles? Yeah, I got to look through your friend list. It's
but honestly, like, and yeah, I listen to some kind of obscure stuff, but it's so good that I often will look around and go, "Why aren't you guys all listening to this right now?
why are you not listening to the Sneaker Pimps?
It's
in
so
my ears.
good. Have you not heard Chumbawamba?
Yeah, truly though.
Tub Thumper.
Absolutely amazing. I try and turn people on to Eiffel 65 as often as I can.
Oh man,
I'm just
talk
like,
about
why
a name I never expected to hear again.
I know, why are we not listening to it? Because he was, in fact, and I can't stress this enough, Blue Abadi Abadai. And I think it's worth mentioning. That's just like,
No, it's not.
isn't it? Not? Okay, I thought for a second, but it isn't. Okay, no, that's fair. Question 4. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there one moment that really sticks out for you?
Every single day of my life.
Okay.
But if there's a moment that sticks out for me, gosh, no. It's all pretty much just always,
Pretty consistent?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's not any one time. I mean, I guess there have been times where it's dawned on me that I'm not an imposter,
Oh, I don't feel a way about you.
which is somebody has to keep a level head around.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But there was one time, like when I was in my, I guess I must have been about 31 or 2, and I was still mostly writing fiction and trying to get that going as some sort of career.
Yeah.
And some agent like kind of came sniffing around, and I was so excited. Not that it ever came of it. And I was talking to the lady I was dating at the time. I'm like, I can't believe this. And she goes, isn't this what you've been working towards? And I went, yeah, that's what I mean. I can't believe it.
How is it happening?
But I think, yeah, that would be a moment where the imposter syndrome was obvious to me at that point.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer.
I really want to win this car.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's Let's Make a Deal. And I want to be clear.
I do have lipstick in my purse.
I talked to the producers. They do not want to make a deal with you.
All right, fine.
It made me think of, what was the Howie Mandel show with the briefcases?
Oh, Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal. Got it. Which I just always found hilarious because I'm like, if they're making me the offer, it means mathematically it's smarter for them to make that, so I'm just not going to take it. That's just for a side note. Anyone's still watching that show?
Has this been on the whole time?
No, but this isn't. Sorry, we're not actually putting this out.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
I was wondering why the mic wasn't plugged into anything.
No, it's like Troy and Abed in the morning. It's just not a real show. Question 5, final question.
Yes.
Typically, I ask, what's your favorite tea? But I know you don't really drink tea. So what is your favorite comfort?
Comfort?
Yes.
I mean, comics was it for a very long time. I guess comics still.
Comics?
Yeah. Music is, I like I said, I'm not buying comics weekly anymore.
Yeah.
Like I still read a lot of them and I'm still like collecting them, but not nearly as actively as I was for most of my life. And music is kind of, because that was another, like I'd always loved punk rock and stuff, but there definitely came a time where I had to like take a big step away from it for a while.
Sure.
And now I'm kind of over the last 7 or 8 years, it's been kind of, oh yeah, I do like this stuff. So that also remains. And also I like to be high a lot of the time.
Oh, okay. So yeah, weed and comics.
Yeah.
You do sound like a really developed adult.
I really do.
Yeah, you do.
Father of 2. Never married. Imagine that.
I love that. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. No, that's the podcast, man. How do you feel?
Sad.
Yeah, sad it's over or sad it happened?
Just in general.
Okay.
Kind of achy.
Oh.
Feverish.
You know what's weird? Could sense that.
Yeah.
The profuse sweating did it.
Well, it's these lights.
Yeah, oh God, these lights. I can tell you, they don't make me look better. Tell you that right now.
I just don't know why we do this. You do this in the parking structure.
Because
These
we like the
motion
echo.
detector lights are. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. The acoustics are incredible.
Also, yeah, there's a very slight smell of urine that I think always just.
I thought that was just me.
That was
That's
you
my
and
ode to toilette.
it's also that parking garage right across from Madhouse Comedy Club.
Oh, in the old Horton Plaza.
Yeah. Oh,
Is that even still there?
I don't know. Well, come back anytime.
Okay.
No,
what are you doing like in half an hour?
Yeah, no, I would say let's do a second episode.
Okay.
Jimmy Callaway 2, Electric Boogaloo. That was Jimmy Callaway. He's not on social media, so look for him in and around LA. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping. You know, I think I left that one on the cutting board floor. On the cutting floor? Cutting board floor?
No, on the cutting board floor. That's
yeah,
right.
the cutting board floor.
It's a floor made out of cutting boards.
Which is crazy because that
you
would
leave
work really
movies, you
well
don't-
for me. Do you wear booties to cover your shoes? Or do you have little shoes made of cutting of knives? And then you chop, chop, chop.
Your face when you thought of that second thing.
Yeah. Can I say something?
was
I'm
adorable.
quitting the podcast. I'm going to come up
What?
with cutting board floors and then knife shoes.
As long as you're going to quit the podcast, I think is the main thing.